Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fearless Fridays with Marianne. This is a warning as the following podcast speaks about domestic violence. There will be some explicit language. If you have experienced domestic violence or are currently experiencing domestic violence, again, this is a warning in regards to the topics that will be discussed. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Fearless Fridays with Marianne. I am your host, Marianne Rivera-Donette, known as the Fearless Living Coach and Career Reset Strategist. This podcast is for the woman needing inspiration, motivation, and empowerment as she steps into her purpose and power. Each week, through our special guests, our hope is that you will walk away ready to recommit to loving yourself a little bit more and step into your own truth. Our speakers, like the everyday woman, has experienced some type of hardship and have overcome adversity. Our speakers will speak directly to you and give you tips on how to step into your fabulousness as you create the life you were born to live, a life where you are free and happy. Are you ready? Hello, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Fearless Fridays with Marianne. Today I have a special guest with us, Vialma Ramos. And before we get started, let me just introduce myself to you. I am Marianne, the Fearless Living Coach and your career reset strategist, where I inspire, empower, and motivate women from coast to coast to live life on their own terms. So today's special guest again is Vialma, and we are going to get started. Why don't you just tell us your name one more time and where you currently work and what you currently do?
So my name is Vialma Ramos. I have two jobs. My full-time job, I am a parent support specialist. I work with preschool youngsters in getting programming throughout the summer because a lot of the children, they regress during the summertime because they're not learning anything. And
Right.
so what happens is that when they start school in September, then they have to be retaught some of the skills that they left off with in June, and that just puts them farther behind from their peers. So what we offer are programs in our local centers. It's a 6 week long program, and my job is to do the recruitment and get the children enrolled and follow up with the sites to make sure that they're implementing the program and the curriculum, as they're supposed to. And
Okay.
then my other job, I am a domestic violence counselor at Willow Domestic Violence Center. I've been with them now going on 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. 14 years. That is, although that's a per diem job, that is a job that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I don't think they would have to put me out before I decide to leave.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that, I'm a domestic violence survivor myself, and it is very rewarding to be able to pour into these women that are coming in fresh out of domestic violence, domestic abuse, and to try to impart some of the skills that I've learned along the way, be it professionally or personally.
Wow, that's so good. So you work with little ones and with adults.
I
So you
do.
have the
I
whole
have the whole
spectrum.
spectrum. The whole spectrum. And then, I have I'm co-coordinator of a program for children with special needs that I do also. We haven't been able to do much now because of COVID, but what our committee, it consists of parents of children with special needs. So everyone that's on the committee has a child that has a special need.
Okay.
And we've encountered situations, like I said, my son has a disability. My son has autism and ADHD, and it makes him socially awkward. So he doesn't quite fit in a lot of situations. Um, and although I've tried to get him involved in a lot of different activities and events and things like that, but he just doesn't quite fit in. So we decided that because of the fact that they can't fit in, my son wasn't the only one that was experiencing that. Because our children don't fit in, we decided to have activities that our children can fit in. So we've had a ball. We had a Valentine's Day ball,
That's
where
nice.
the children all came out and they were dressed up to the nines, and we gave them trophies, and they danced, and every performer that was there had a disability. So that was awesome. And then
Wow.
we had last event was a picnic. We had a very huge picnic over at North Street Rec Center. And it was all inclusive, and all of the activities were handicap accessible. So
Oh,
it
wow.
was awesome. So yeah, so I love doing that on the side as well.
That's really cool. You got together with a group of people who saw a need, not just for
Hmm.
others, but for yourselves, and you guys, took that upon yourselves to create that.
Yeah, it came from the level of frustration that we were experiencing because, like, my son with his autism, he gets overstimulated very easily.
Mm,
So if there's an activity that there's a lot of lights and sounds, like Chuck E. Cheese, he
right,
loved going there, but it would have him so riled up. And it would take me so long to unwind him. Um, big festivals. Like I love like the Puerto Rican festival, but all those crowds, it
right.
would it would make him, so agitated. So it's like, I had to do something because it had gotten to the point where I had stopped taking him out. I had stopped
Mm,
taking him places. And it's like I can't do that. If I'm trying to teach him social skills to be able to, be effective in the community, like how can I keep him stuck in the house?
right,
So, COVID has really messed that up because we had really done, some great progress with him, and we were getting him out and, interacting with peers. And then COVID came and shut everything down.
mm,
So now he's stuck in his room every day on
wow.
the computer, playing games, refuses to come out.
Hmm.
So it's hard. So it's like all of that was undone. So now we have to go back to the drawing board and do it all over again. But like you said, that's motherhood. A
Yes,
mother's job is
it
never done.
is.
Mhm.
That's it.
Mhm.
So when you hear transformative freedom, what does that mean to you? So for me, 2021, it's all about transformative freedom. I meditated on the words, several words, and those that just stuck for me. So that's my plan for 2021. So when you hear that, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that with COVID, a lot of change came about. And I think that we had to really tap into our natural resources and look at our own abilities to be able to come forward. A lot of people, they turn to working from home and creating businesses that will supplement their income and things like that. So I'm thinking transformative freedom to be like just have that, just specifically that, to have the freedom to be able to transform your life in a positive manner that best suits and benefits you.
So good. Very good. So tell us about one of your biggest obstacles that you have faced and how you healed and what did that process look like?
The biggest and hardest obstacle that I have ever endured was exiting a very violent and abusive relationship that almost cost me and my family our lives.
Mm,
Um, I was pretty much in bondage, figuratively and physically. Um, I was in that relationship for 2 years, and um, it was extremely difficult
mhm,
because he had alienated me from my family, had me at odds with my family because he created a lot of situations in the house, to the point where my family no longer wanted to come. And
right.
then he made it where, like, even if they wanted to come, they weren't welcome. And that was my house, and he just took over. Um, I experienced abuse in every form imaginative, like anything that you can think of, he did it to me.
Mhm,
Um, And it was crazy because here I am, a domestic violence counselor,
Right.
and I'm in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it all came from, when I look back at it, it all came from, let's see. So I had been single, after my husband and I separated, I had been single for ever, like 5 or 6 years at that point. Um, and then here came this person who just like wooed me and made me feel like Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like I was already struggling with self-esteem issues. I was extremely overweight. I had a lot of medical issues. And here comes this person and acting like I'm just the most, and it blinded me.
Right.
So I didn't see the warning signs. I didn't see the flags. But now that I look back in retrospect, I did see the warning signs and I did see the flags. But and he also had me so jacked up in the mind that where he was telling me nobody else is gonna want you. Who's gonna want your fat ass? Who's gonna want
Mm-hmm.
you're sickly, you're this, you're that. Who else is gonna deal with you? And he had me believing that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And he broke me down to the bare minimum. He
Yeah.
broke me down to the point where I was just a shell of the woman that I used to be.
Yeah.
And when I saw myself that I was by myself and I had my son who was 7, um, at that point, he hadn't witnessed anything because he would always do it in private. And,
Mm-hmm.
I would always purposely send my son to my mom's house so that he would never have to see any of that.
Right.
But there came a point in time in which he didn't care. And he decided to do this in front of my 7-year-old disabled child, who then jumped in, and then my son became a victim as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that point that I had to become very strategic because it's one thing, not that it's okay, but it's one thing when you're doing things to me and you're harming me. But when you include my son, my 7-year-old son,
Yeah.
in the equation, now like the gloves are off,
Right.
So I had to become very strategic and I had to like kind of rattle myself to shake myself out of that stupor that I was in and be able like, what the hell are you doing? Like this is what you do for a living. This is the things that you be telling these women to like, you've got to be courageous and you've got to be creative and you've got to be proactive. And here you are, you're stuck. Like I felt like you're stuck in the mud and your feet, you
Right.
can't move your feet. That's how I was feeling. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to like shake myself. That situation there when he hit my son was when I said, the hell, like I've got to do
Right.
whatever.
That was the wake up call.
It was a look, it was sounding loud and clear. And I had to get very strategic. I had to put my house up for sale. He wouldn't leave, so I left. And I wasn't going to leave in my house, so I had to put my house up for sale. But I had to do it discreetly so that he wouldn't see it,
Right.
and then I was able to get him out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, pursued me for a couple months, and then eventually he moved on to terrorize somebody else. But it was the worst experience ever. Um, Especially when I was enduring the abuse itself, it felt like, in order for me to preserve a little fragment of myself, I had to like have this out of body experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I became like I just created this shell around myself where everything that he was saying, like I wouldn't allow it to permeate my spirit
Yes.
because I knew that if he got there, I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I was done. So I just had to like let it stay on the surface. And I did a lot of self-talk during that time. Like when he would, call me all out my name and tell me how worthless I was, things like that, I would always say, I am worthy. I would contradict everything that he said in my mind. I would never speak it because I knew that would cause more problems. But in my mind, I would just do this self-talk to be able to keep myself afloat.
Speaking
Um, and
affirmations to yourself in your
then,
head.
yeah, I had to do positive affirmations all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then I listened to a lot of gospel. Tamala Mann was the like I played. It was like when you can see the devil in him.
Yeah.
Because I would blast it, I would play it all the time, and it would just perturb him so much, and I knew it. And he would eventually leave. So once I saw that, oh yeah, I'm
Right.
playing Tamla all day. Get
Yeah.
out, get gone.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest experience that I had ever. And I had to restore relationships with my children. I had to restore relationship with my mom. Have them, explain to them that it wasn't that I didn't want to be a part of them, or it wasn't like I chose him over them. I chose our safety
Right.
because I had to play along with his game in order to be able to keep us all safe. Because he wouldn't just threaten me; he would threaten specifically my children and my
Right.
mother.
Mm.
I know where your mom sits at. She'll be an easy target.
Mm.
Oh, I know where your sons hang out at. I can easily get at them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like I had to disassociate myself from them and let them think that I didn't want anything to do with them just so that they wouldn't come around. So
Mm.
it's been a couple years now that I've been out of that. It's 4 years actually, almost 5, that I've been able to get out of that situation. And it's been a work in progress. I have one son that still kind of resents that, because
Mm.
he still feels like, it was my choice. And it was not,
Right.
but I'm not going anywhere, so I just keep on working at it.
Yeah, that's so important that you say that, because people who have never been in a domestic abusive relationship do not
Hmm.
understand. And it's not just about being punched, being hit, is the mental and the psychological part
Yes.
that really sticks to you and actually lasts for sometimes, an eternity, unless you have
Yes.
actually gotten, like, therapy and counseling and things like that.
Hmm. So I would always prefer to be hit.
Hmm.
And I would tell them, like, stop saying that to me. Just slap me and get it over with.
Right.
Because that stinging will eventually go away. That bruise will eventually, heal. And I would be back to normal, quote unquote. But those emotional wounds, they do not heal. They
Right.
do not heal. You can learn to cope with them, but you will keep that forever.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah.
And it's just
So,
up to you how you manage to live going forward.
mm,
I chose to use those, like Sierra has a song about something about looking at the wounds as beauty marks.
mm,
And I consider my wounds as like my warrior
right.
stripes. Like
Yeah.
I survived that.
Mm. So, as it relates to women, what are your thoughts on why we become stuck and sometimes experience unfulfillment in our lives?
I think it's the major thing would be fear.
Mm.
Fear of the unknown, um, lack of resources, lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power. When you know better, you do better. So
Right.
I think that a lot of women, they don't know what they're capable of doing because they don't try, or they don't know the steps that they need to take in order to be able to accomplish a certain goal. So I think that fear is like the overriding um, issue here, where they just need to be able to take that step. The first step is always the hardest step, but
It
then
is.
once you take that first one, the rest will follow.
Right.
So it's just a matter of getting out of your head and be able to push yourself forward.
So, what one piece of advice would you give to our listeners, particularly women, that are
Hmm.
ready to step into their own truth? Women that may be in a unhealthy relationship,
Hmm.
in a toxic environment,
Hmm.
or that feel stuck and they're just ready to step into their own truth. What piece of advice would you give to them?
Stop being bullied by the thoughts in your head and
Mm,
follow what's in your heart.
mm, that's good. That's
That
good.
I think is the the whole everything in a nutshell. Stop allowing the negative. self-talk to discourage you from becoming your greatest potential.
Yeah.
You'll never know until you try.
Right. Oh, that's so good. So now shifting gears a little bit,
Mhm.
what book have you recently read that has truly been a game changer for you?
So I'm still reading it, right?
Okay.
Um, and it's called Love After Heartbreak.
Ooh, okay.
It is written by it's written by a man, Stefan somebody.
Okay.
I actually found it was an ad on Facebook and I clicked on it and I found he has several books, but his he has a lot of videos on
Okay.
YouTube and I listened to them before I actually bought the book. And he is very, very encouraging and inspiring. And it's what's interesting is coming from a man. He's
Nice.
providing a male's perspective. So I bought this book so that I can, you know, be able to start working through that emotional turmoil that I was in or still am,
Right.
um because I'm still young. I'm just 50, in my very early 50s. I'm 51 and
Mhm.
I don't want to be alone forever, but I
Right.
know that I have a lot of baggage, from previous relationships that I need to work through in order to be able to move on, because I don't want to go into a new relationship with old baggage.
Yeah.
So this book is awesome because it's going to help you deal with a lot of unresolved pain and resentment that you have, that's lingering from a heartbreak that you've experienced.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
so
a
good, and so that's
very
so good
good
and so
read.
important that you mentioned that, because sometimes, especially for women, we go from
Mhm.
relationship to relationship,
Right.
especially if we have experienced lack of self-confidence, low
Mhm.
self-esteem. If we find ourselves being a single parent, we tend to latch on to the first person that, bats their eyes at us a certain way. So that's very important that you're taking time to heal and that you
Mhm.
recognize that there are things that you have to overcome so you can move into a relationship being positive and, for it to be healthier. So that's really good.
Right. Yeah, I found it very important. After every breakup, I've been in three like serious relationships, and
Hmm.
after every breakup, I've been single for about 2 to 3 years before I started dating someone else.
Hmm.
This has been the longest. I'm going on 5 years this year of being
Hmm.
single. But it's because of what I experienced that it
Right.
I have realized that because the three relationships, they were all very similar.
Hmm.
They each one was more abusive and more disrespectful. To the last one was just like horrendous. It was like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably like about 11.
Right.
Um, and I recognized that I was pretty much choosing the same type of men. I wasn't. I'm not the best judge of character. I
Right.
have to recognize that.
Mhm.
And the other thing too is that I'm a helper by nature and I'm a helper by profession. We're stuck,
No.
huh? Mine is stuck over here.
Oh,
Um, I'm a helper by nature and I'm a helper by profession. And what I've found is that I tend to get these fixer uppers.
right.
I see these individuals, and the whole time that I'm talking to them, I'm creating like a whole uh what do you call it? Goal plan of things
Right.
that they need to do. And I'm like, no, I cannot do that again. So now when people come to me, if you have any type of issues or whatever, I'm not even trying to hear it. I don't care. You know,
Right.
I I have to take care of myself and I have to take care of my son. And then but it's important for me to find, and I'm not looking for anybody. Let me
Right.
put that out there. I'm not interested in any, seeking any type of relationship at this point because, like I said, I still have a lot of healing to do. In
Right.
order for me, and I have to learn how to trust again. But it's important for that to happen because, like my son, he is desperate. Like he has his father. but his
Mm.
father doesn't live in this city, and it's very hard for him because he wants that male influence. So he has created dating profiles for me. Um, he talks to people and tells people like, oh, my mom is single, she's looking for a man, and I'm like, boy, no, I'm not. And like, did you see that person? Like, at least give me some credit. Like, no, that's not my type. But
Yeah.
another thing that really struck home was that he also told me, like, mom, when you get in another relationship, I don't want you to be dating a black man. I don't
Ooh.
want a black man. And I was like, why? He was like, no, you got to get yourself a white man because the black men, all they do is beat on you and cheat on you.
Mm.
So I have not been successful in presenting a positive male black image for him,
Mm.
to the point where he's, like, sometimes he says that he doesn't want to be black because he doesn't want to be like that. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're not going to be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm teaching you better than that. But I definitely have to show him that there are, real men out here that
Right.
that don't want to hurt.
Right.
They gotta find me first. Put it
Yes,
that
they
way.
do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I'm frozen over here,
nope, I can hear you good.
but my screen is frozen. But okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Now that 2021 is upon us, what are you most excited about aside from COVID being gone?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm excited for the new opportunities. I mean, this is going to be a whole new world,
It is. Mhm.
and I don't think we will ever go back to what we used to be, and I'm looking at that as an opportunity for us to just roll with the punches, and since we have to change, like, let's change for the better,
Right.
and let's improve ourselves in every aspect, of our lives, so that we can have a better life, so that if we ever get some semblance of normalcy, that we can at least be in a better position than where we were at when this whole thing started.
Mm. So I know we haven't really talked about it, but we're going to mention it now. Aside from all the stuff that you currently do, there's another
hmm
side business that you have. Tell us about that
hmm
business.
So, look, I'm a jack of all trades. Like, I have, um, I have my own business. It is
Mhm.
I am a consultant. I'm an independent consultant with Bedroom Candy. Bedroom Candy is a company that is owned by Candy Burris, and who was the former singer of Escape, and she's also one of the Atlanta Housewives.
Okay.
So she started a company a few years ago, in where she was, providing sex toys,
Okay.
for single women, well, for anyone. Is there's couples toys and all of that. But there's a lot of myths and misconceptions when it comes to the adult industry.
Right.
Everybody thinks that it's all like taboo, and that all we do is sell dildos and vibrators, and we're not. Like, we're selling empowerment. We're selling the opportunity for an individual to take on their own, um how do you call it, their own satisfaction.
Right.
We don't have to be dependent on a man to be able to do those things for us. My motto is, who needs a man when you have a hand? You know what I'm saying? So, and who needs a boy when you have a toy? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, this has, and I'm not promoting, masturbation or anything like that by any means, but it
Right.
definitely helps you, um, not run back to, um, an old relationship or a bad relationship just for the sake of having sex. Like, this is something that you can take, matters into your own hands, so to speak. But we don't sell just toys, and that's one of the things that people don't know about Bedroom Candy, and they think that's all I sell. No, I
Right.
sell candles, I sell bath and body care, hair care. We also sell makeup. and they just get turned off by the sight of a dildo. And it's like, come on, get with the
Right.
times. I mean, even married couples play with toys, you know. Yeah, so I've been doing that now for almost 6 years.
Wow. Nice.
And ironically, my business has like super skyrocketed this year, since the pandemic hit, because
You know
prior
what's going
to,
out.
right. So, and that's what, helped me, because a lot, it started off with one person saying, "Hey, do you have anything on hand? Because I'm home alone and I can't go out and get any." I'm like, "Yeah, I got something." So, I'll bring out my little bag of goodies, and they'll pick whatever they want, and boom, and then it just became more frequent. And I'm like, "Wait a minute." So my sales increased, and not only that, I was a sole person. I was the only consultant in Rochester for all of these years.
Mm,
That's the reason why I became a consultant, because the party that I attended, the consultant was from Buffalo. And I
okay.
was like, she made mad money in this group, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, from this party. And it's like, if she, like, why would anybody have to come into my city, to service our people when I'm right here, And so that's why I became a consultant. But I was by myself for all these years. And then it just so happened that once the pandemic hit, and everybody had to try to get different streams of income to supplement their finances, because of layoffs and cutbacks and things like that. um, this became a viable option for a lot of people. So where I was the only person last year in May, today I have a team of 25 people that are all under me.
Wow.
So, I mean, it increased like tremendously.
That's
And then
awesome.
that also, it helped supplement my income as well.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll
Mhm.
be sure
Yeah.
to get your website so we can put it in the show notes, and you will definitely be getting some sales from our listeners.
Well, I
Um,
hope so. We have a lot of great sales now for Thanksgiving, for Valentine's Day. We have a lot of nice items, and we have some new items that we're featuring this month. So definitely check out the website.
awesome. Awesome. So, as we get ready to close out, this is something new that I started. So, you're the first person that I'm doing it with.
Oh, great.
It's called just rapid fire questions. So, basically, the first thing that pops to your mind. Um, so, the first question is, well, what's your favorite dish?
Arroz con gandules en pernil.
Girl, that sounds delicious right about right now.
Mm,
Mm-mm-mm. What's
yes.
your favorite drink?
Oh gosh. Alcoholic or
Anything, whatever your favorite drink. If you could only drink the same
um,
thing for the rest of your life.
mm, something tropical, fruity, like with coconut rum and pineapple, like something like a pina colada type thing.
Okay. Beachside or mountainside?
Oh, beachside.
Yes. Favorite
Hmm.
actor?
Denzel Washington,
Favorite singer?
Mark Anthony.
Ooh, that's my baby daddy. Ooh,
Yes. He's ugly as all get out, but honey, he can sing. So
there's
I
something
love
about
him.
that man.
I know, right?
What's your
I
favorite
saw him
flower?
perform. So
Huh?
I saw him perform once in concert. So
Yeah,
he
I
was
did
awesome.
too. Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
Hmm.
What's your favorite flower?
Yellow rose.
Ooh, why yellow?
Mm. Because it's a sign of like friendship and
Mm,
just I don't know. I just they just look pretty. The red are so common, you know.
yeah,
And I think that if you look for a yellow rose for me, that shows that you put in work
I agree. If you could have one superpower, what superpower would you have?
to heal the land
That's a good one.
and
That's a good
stop
one.
all these deaths.
That's a good one. All right. So as we get ready to close out, a question that I like to ask all of my listeners, all of my guests, I mean, um, in terms of fearless living, what does fearless living mean to you?
Living without boundaries, just not confining yourself to any body standards or norms, just being able to just live as you please.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that pretty much wraps up our interview for today. It has been a pleasure getting together with
Likewise.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation with Vialma. If you are someone that is going through some domestic violence situations, make sure that you get help. There's assistance out there in every state. I am part of a organization called Destined to Be Free. So make sure that you look us up on Facebook so you can learn about some resources that we have. And make sure that you check on the show notes so you can connect with Vialma and check out her Bedroom by Candy inventory. And as always, make sure that you stay connected. Make sure that you follow, subscribe, and share this. Remember that you are a priority, you matter, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that podcast was beneficial to you. Be sure to click on the subscribe button, leave us a comment, and share. We look forward to connecting with you at our website, mariannerivera.com, or you can find us on Facebook at the Fearless Living Coach page. Remember that you are fearless and fabulous, you are a priority, and you matter. Until next time.